Welcome to this module titled Using Forms and AngularJS Apps. We've already seen how to create forms in Angular and style them with Bootstrap. However, our form has existed on the start page of our spa or mini spa. A much more likely scenario is that we'll need to call up our forms when a user demands it. The first thing we'll do in this module is set up routing to our form. When the form is submitted with no errors, or if the form is canceled, we'll need to set up routing back to where we started. It's also likely for an Angular app to use some kind of data service object to access remote data. We'll create an Angular service for this and have this deal with the create and update actions we need for our employee form. Forms usually have some kind of cancel button for users to cancel changes. This can get tricky in Angular when you're using two-way data binding. As a user enters data, it gets updated in scope as it's entered. However, canceling out of a form does not go back and revert changes in your scope object. If you're not careful, you'll wind up with dirty data that a user thought was cleaned up by pressing the cancel button. One way around this is to just have the cancel button route the user back to some other controller with a different scope. But if this isn't the case, you'll wind up with bad data. We'll see how to deal with this by using Angular's copy function to make a deep copy of an object on our scope. Next, we'll fix up our form to work for inserts as well as updates. There's not much difference in the way the form looks. However, submitting the form will be done differently for inserts as compared to updates. It's also important to keep track of an invisible employee ID for updates, as well as keep track of the fact we're doing an insert without an employee ID. Using Angular's client-side routing features to get to and from forms is one way to go. But another way to go is to show forms modally. A modal form will dim out the entire screen behind itself, forcing the user to submit or cancel the form before performing any other action within the app. We'll see how to set this up using UI Bootstrap's modal service. There's a whole module in this course on UI Bootstrap's user interface controls, but its modal service, to show forms modally in Angular, will be discussed here. The big benefit of using UI Bootstrap for this is that we'll get Bootstrap's styling for modal dialogues, without the need to include Bootstrap's JavaScript file. We just need to make use of the Angular service named modal.